Okay. It says I'm on, I think. Ooh, that's hot. Ooh, ooh, that's too hot. Okay. I don't have time to sit and do a video and do all the things that you got to do to do the, you know, you edit, you sit there and watch for like forever, it seems like, and do all the stuff. Anyway, so I'm hoping that because no one else is in the house, the Wi Fi is going to, sorry, I'm getting all comfy in my chair here. The Wi Fi is going to work with me. Hopefully, it's not going to be all fuzzy and fuzzy and all that good stuff because it's just want to talk about some stuff and not have to worry about editing, watching, saving, uploading, do all the mess. Figured I would just do this live, and that's just one less thing I have to worry about. I could just talk as much as I want and then shut it down and post it because it still makes you post it. Anyway, good afternoon. It's Sunday. It's today, the 21st. And I just wanted to talk about, your pantry. And of course, I'm sitting down today, this afternoon, and this week. And even though it's super cold, I know everybody's been talking about the cold all week. And we just got above freezing this afternoon here in North Carolina, where I'm at. So, yay. Okay, it's been cold, but it is winter. Nothing unusual about that because it's going to be 70 come Friday. So that is very normal for us. All 4 seasons in 1 week here in North Carolina. So that is just how it is. It's just cold. It's winter. Get over it. We'll be over it in about, 2 more months, and then we're all going to be 4 months down here. We're going to be like, stop it. It's too hot. Anyway, a little warm coffee. So, what I wanted to talk about, I listened to a video this morning, and it was, it's uplifting, it's, encouraging. But then to some, I thought, well, man, this could be discouraging for. Hey, Bubba, I saw that. 8 inches of snow there, huh? Yeah, I know it's supposed to be snowing for you, but hey, that's my Bubba. Anyway, this is your mama. Yay. Um, Hi, Ma. Hey, yay, that's fun. So, anyway, what I wanted to talk about today, like I said, I was watching that video this morning. It was, like I said, it's kind of wants to get you motivated to make sure you've got your gardens going or planning and try to produce, challenge you to do more in your gardens this year. But I also thought it could be discouraging to others that don't have the garden space or the space to make these big gardens and just and not know where to start, how to produce a lot of food, to put away. Yeah, do you need to learn to? Yes, definitely. I think everybody needs to know how to grow something, whether it's just green beans or potatoes. Everybody thinks potatoes are, the easiest thing to grow, and normally they are. But like last year, I had, for some reason, several of the potatoes when they came up and we had a frost, almost a killing frost again. I had several plants die off and didn't produce any potatoes, some little tiny little what we call marbles. So it just it didn't happen. The potato didn't rot. The whole seed potato was still in the ground when I dug the rest of the heels up. So sometimes things just don't work out. They just don't work out. You can't help it sometimes. And that is discouraging. But um, you know, I was blessed with a ton of tomatoes in 23. Same amount of plants in 22 didn't give me near the amount of produce that I got in 23. So you can't guarantee that a garden is always going to produce everything you need. Um, so that is, it's not, yeah, those are goals. That'd be great. But you need to think about there's just too many factors. Unless you've got the right growing conditions, you've got high tunnels and greenhouses, and climate control, and all these other things. No bugs. Like like I said before, last year I had 50 some pounds of zucchini. This year I had 7. Same amount of plants, but just didn't work out. Could have been where I planted them. It could be. And then the squash beetles came in, or squash bugs came in. So then they just destroyed everything. So 52 pounds of zucchini in 22, and then 7 in 23. Luckily, I put away a lot of zucchini in 22. So I'm still eating that. That's everything that was in the freezer or back there dehydrated. So you just, gardening is, there is no guarantee. It is, there is no guarantee. So you've got to do other things. You see my produce back here, which is getting ready to be covered up. So this may be the last time you see this because I'm going to start my curtains this afternoon. But anyway, the I guess the point, what I really wanted to say is, yes, I do grow this. The only thing up there, kind of right there, I think, that's peaches. I put away peaches this year, and of course the dry beans that I turn into jars of beans. Have I grown dried beans before? Yes, yes. And in order to get the amount of dry beans you need, you're going to have fields of them. So it's just cheaper right now, easier to buy the dry bean and then put them in jars. And that's the way I like to do it. Um, so you just need to buy lots of dry beans because it takes a lot. Now, I think, where are they? Oh, there they are. Speaking of dry beans, my seeds, if you saw the seed harvest or the green beans last year, and I sectioned off, or 2 sections that I did not pick those beans because I needed seed for this year. So that's all I got, right? That is, I don't know, just over half a pound. Now that is a lot of green beans to come, right? Because there's going to be a lot of green beans. But that was what? That would probably be about maybe 12 foot, probably 12 foot of growing space. Gave me this much. So, and they look just like pintos, don't they? They're not. They're actually green bean seeds. So that tells you that you need a lot of space to grow dry beans, or like your pintos, your black beans, red beans, all kinds of beans that you're going to dry. So you just can't. There's just no way you could possibly. Now, can I just turn up the whole backyard? Yeah, I could. But do I have the time? No, not while I'm working a full-time job. So that's why, yeah, you see this just because it's here in my dining room, but you don't see what's in my working pantry, all my dry goods. That's just not what this channel's about. There's too many other channels out there that talk about, food storage or purchasing things. What I wanted to talk about today was, just kind of encourage you to still garden as much as you can, just because it's healthier for you. For one thing, you could have all control over how you grow that food, whether you use chemical amendments, use natural fertilizers, or do absolutely nothing at all. And then when you put it in the jar up there, you have all the control over what you're putting in it. The only thing that I use, for the most part, would just be salt, Cannon salt or kosher salt. That's it. Nothing, unless it's obviously fruits, nuts. I go super super light on the syrup. So it's like a 1 to 4 ratio. So that way it is not overly sweet when I did the pears and the peaches in. So it'd be like, what is it? So 1 cup of sugar to 4 cups of water. That's the syrup that I make to go in the jars of the fruit. That way you can use it for whatever. You can just eat it like it's fresh, which is really good. Those pears, you're those are 22, um, and they are still fort tender. I mean, they're crunchy, still crunchy. So it's still like eating a fresh pear. And luckily all that's water bath, so you're not like just processing the hound out of it. So, but that's where I just kind of keep everything basic. All of my meat is normally raw packed, so it just produces its own, except for the ground. You have to kind of cook that, and then I just put water in the jars. Um, let's see, what else do I have up there? Yeah, there's nothing. I don't see anything. The corn, that's just corn. That's all that's in there. It's just corn. The tomatoes right there. Where's it at? It's hard to see behind you. Right there. That's just tomatoes. So that way I can use them for whatever I want to use them for. Do I want to make chili? Do I want to smush them up and make sauce? Which I don't need to because I have jars of sauce up there. I tried to do a lot of things super simple. The turkey, just turkey. There's no anything else in it. It made its own liquid, and there's no salt. So that's why I like to preserve my own food, because I have control over what's in it. And then if something happens, it's on me. But fortunately, everything, like I said, it's all grown here, and doesn't seem like a lot. There is a lot of holes. I'm just noticing. We've been doing the pantry challenge, so eating a lot from the pantry, the jarred food, and of course the working pantry. But I just wanted to, like I said, touch base and just try to, don't get discouraged. Yeah, it's cold. This is the perfect time when you can't do anything else. Lay out your garden. Think about what it is you want to um, have this year. What do you want to eat? What do you like to eat? Now, if you don't like to eat green beans, don't waste the space on green beans. Green beans are super easy though. And if you get bush beans, there's nothing to it. They're right there, but you're gonna be crawling around on the ground or bending over a lot. So then if you go to pole beans, you got to make sure you got a trellis or strings or something to hold them up, so they just grow straight up. Those were what we grew last year, and which I will grow again this year, are the like I said, the Cherokee greasy beans. They grow straight up. So, and actually to the point they went, what is that? It's almost six. So they're taller than me. So yeah, it's almost 6 foot tall, and then they were growing over and coming back down. So, and they just kept producing. As long as you keep picking and they get plenty of water, they'll keep producing. So that's a good thing about a pole. Any bean, actually any green bean, even the bush beans will, as long as you continue to pick. Now, when you stop picking things like peas and green beans, that's when they think like, okay, well, survival mode now. The plant's going in survival mode. So now it's trying to put on, um, it's just producing. It just reproducing itself. So it's just going to put its energy and die off into seeds. So that's why I didn't get a whole lot of seeds. Well, actually, quite a few seeds. But it didn't put on a lot more after the initial beans on those first two. But that was the plan. That the plan was those two sections were just for seed. I was not picking it for food for this year. That was, like I said, I'm going to have plenty of seeds probably for the next 3 years, to be honest with you. So anyway, that's kind of what you want to do, is just figure out what you want to eat. Do you like spaghetti? Right? You like spaghetti. You want to have some type of spaghetti or pasta once a week, right? So you need to have 52 jars of pasta sauce. Plain and simple, if that's what you want to do. So figure out how you're going to grow that much. And like I said, you're never guaranteed. This year the tomatoes did great. Last year they didn't. So I've got, let's see, this year I did. Now I still have 2 gallons. I've got to figure out in the next, I don't know, I'm going to do something in the next couple weeks, I guess. I don't know what it is. But there are a dozen jars on the top. That's the extras. There are, I think, 6 still right here. So there's 18 jars still of pasta sauce. And then I made, I think, a half dozen pizza sauce. Now I could take the pasta sauce as well and open it up and make a pizza out of it. And then I'd have to either make more pizza later within a week or so, or take what's left in that pint jar and, put it in the freezer for another, if I wanted to do that. But that's why I just went ahead and made just little jars of pizza sauce, because pizza is just so much better at home. Promise you that. So much better. So much better. And then, of course, I don't eat pickled peppers. And I got like 50 jars. There's enough pickled peppers to last for a year or more, okay? I swear there are. No idea how many's up there. But then again, I like that cowboy candy. Not by itself, but I like it. So it's just weird. I'm weird about peppers. Anyway, let's see. Like I said, I can use the fire roasted tomatoes. And that's just tomatoes. And of course they pack, that's their own juice in here. So I can either open this up and make some kind of soup, or I could cook it, whir them up with the blender and add seasonings, make pasta sauce, or make a chili base or whatever. The reason I've got these is more for chili. I like the chili. But you just got to figure out like what it is you eat. And as far as being prepared and thinking about your pantry for your year, because you got one shot depending upon where you're at, and where you're at. And, we've got a decent growing season. Because I will plant, see, I got to start seeds soon. So sometime, theoretically, they say about mid-February. But I'm probably going to put them in a little later in February. Some cabbage, broccoli, and cabbage and broccoli, I think, to get those going. Those are your cold crops. I'm not going to do Brussels. Brussels you would want to start in the fall because they take so long. But then shortly thereafter, first part of March, definitely a few plants of lettuce. Now, are those calories? No. But is it nutrition? And is it tasty? Yes. So you can't calculate those in pounds. By just calculating how many salads did we eat. So I'll do lettuce and spinach come March. And then I'm debating on the carrots. I have I have about 5 gallons of carrots still left. Yeah. I've only emptied one of those 2.5 gallon buckets of sand. I've only emptied one. Hey, that's great. I still have fresh carrots that I picked in June. So that's working out really well. So I may not, if I do carrots, it won't be as much. But then again, I didn't know how much I was going to grow. You never know. You almost want to overdo just in case. This year, they did great. I don't remember what the count was, 20 some odd pounds of carrots. Yeah, they're only like 3 or 4 inches, but they're perfect for just a couple of people. Um, and it depends on what you're making. You just don't need a big carrot most of the time. And I don't eat them raw. My husband will eat them raw every now and then, but I like to use them in things like soups and stews and salads and that kind of stuff. So that's pretty much where we're going to start this year. Is I'm going to sit down and for me, like I said, if we don't eat pasta or spaghetti skitty every week, and now it's that the hubby's gone now, going to be gone pretty much most of the week now, working out of town. He's only going to be home on the weekend, so it's just going to be me. And now I've got to go back to figuring out. Yeah, that's the way I like to plant my garden too. Just oh yeah, definitely overdo it, no doubt, because you just never know the what the season's going to bring you. But like I said, the hubby is now working out of town probably for the next couple of years with his job. So he'll only be home, Friday through Sunday. And now I've got to figure out how to eat for one or cook for one again. Because I'm definitely not going to make a big old thing of pasta and then have to eat it every night for dinner for a week. That would be more affordable, right? But anyway, like I said, I just want to encourage people to, do as much as they can as far as growing. And, I weigh everything or most everything, or I have in the past couple of years, just as let's see how much food that I can grow in this tiny little space. And if you've seen my videos, you see I don't have a big garden. I think there are 4 no dig 3 by, what was it, 17 or 18 feet. And then I have 2 raised beds that are 4 by 8, which ended up going fallow all of, pretty much all of the planting season in 23. I put the lettuce in there. That was it. And what was left, I left the fall crop from 22, just kind of finish out. And I gave the scraps and that was just kind of the treats for the chickens throughout the spring of 23 going through the summer. So yeah, I didn't even really use those, just for a little bit of lettuce. And then of course you got the greenhouse, and I did just the carrots really. I had the spinach in there in the spring. And what else did I have? I had the 2 rows, almost 20-foot rows of green beans. So yeah, I didn't have a lot going on in the garden this year, but I still got almost roughly 300 pounds. So, and that's not weighing every single thing. You just can't weigh everything. But I felt like I did a good job. So for me, if it ever came down to the what's another word? Who said it recently? When the sheep manure hits the oscillator. I can still do it. I already know I could grow food. If I had to do it, could I plow up the rest of my yard and plant more? Yes. if that's all I had going on and that's all I did, I didn't have to work outside the house, could I probably make enough food? Yes. Yes. I mean, we plan on doing more chickens this year. We're definitely going to raise up. Like I said, there's just two of us in the house most of the time. So I'm going to probably do anywhere from 20 to 30 meat birds this season. And that'll actually, that's starting soon. That's in March. So just a couple more months. I will do at least 10 to 15, raise them in the spring, and then I'm going to do a summer into fall um, chicken raising. So that'll be a lot of fun. Um, looks like I'm running, my battery's starting to run low. Darn it. I should have charged the battery. Anyway, so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, is just, just encourage you to do more and figure out what it is you like to eat and only grow what you eat. Now, is there a, one way? No, there's all kinds of ways to grow. Um, I am putting in an extra, hopefully, an extra row, and it's going to run right down the side of my driveway. And that's just for potatoes. And it's only because of the way, I've just noticed this past year the way the sun's moving, and I've got some tree growth that I haven't been able to go out and trim up. Because my garden, where my garden has been all these years, is just not getting the sunlight that it should anymore. So there's that. We just got to kind of move some things around. But I wanted to say that too, there are a lot of things that, like I said, I do around here that you guys don't see in my videos. Yes, I have, obviously, I've got beans, rice, pasta, because I can't grow those things, right? So, and yeah, I could grow wheat. We could grow wheat down in the bottoms or whatever, but I don't have to right now. So I'm not going to. Plain and simple. Just, that's it. That's a lot of work. That is a lot of work because we don't have the farm implements for it, and it'll be a lot of work by hand. And if you've ever cut anything like that by hand, like we've done, now my dad is thinking about doing sorghum. There may be a sorghum coming this year. I don't know. I'll help them if he plans to do that. We'll do sorghum, and maybe I can do a little molasses making video for you. But I'm not sure if he's wanting to do that this year or not. He's thinking about it. So if he does, I'll help him out. But there's all kinds of resources out there. Like I said, I started canning probably over 20 years ago, 20 something years ago. I don't know how long it's been. But this was my first book, my canning book. Super basic. Super basic. It was 99 cents. You see that? 99 cents. What? But then I graduated. To this one. And there are a lot of fun recipes in this one. Which there was one you can see on my little stickies here. Blue ribbon preserves. And my son, I'm not sure if he's still on here or not, but he could tell you the blackberry jelly. Definitely. It takes 2 days for me to make that stuff the way it's perfect. And yeah, got some blue ribbons for that. And then, of course, I got the new one. Everybody's always talking about ball. I have never owned a ball cannon book, ever. And I just bought one for myself for Christmas. And this ain't even the big blue book. So I haven't even used any of it yet. He loves that. No, you really like, what's the other one? Oh, you like margarita jelly. margarita jelly's in here. And yes, it has the tequila and the triple sec in it. So that is some good stuff. But those are, like I said, you can just, like I said, super basic. This is this is super basic, and that's all I started with. Of course, my grandparents, my family, my parents was raised growing your own food and putting by and putting everything up every year. And they lived off land, but there were still stores. They still had stores, but they grew the majority of their food, and it was really basic. And that's really what I want to get back to, is getting back to the basics. You just make your own bread. That's basic. Flour, yeast, milk or water, salt, a little bit of salt. Yeah, that's pretty basic. Usually lasts me about a week. It starts getting stale, of course, by 5 or 6 days. Of course, there's only two of us now. If you had a family, you'd probably be making a loaf every couple of days, 2 or 3 days. But it is much cheaper and healthier for you. And then when it starts to go stale, hello, French toast bake. Come on. So there's that. And then, of course, I made those cinnamon rolls last week. Holy cow. Really simple. It was really simple. A little bit longer than I had thought it was going to be. But I haven't even bought a thing of, those little cans of cinnamon rolls where you open up do a little thing and put them in the oven. Oh my gosh. Those I made last weekend were like Cinnabon quality. Oh my gosh. Cinnamon rolls. So it's just really, for me, is like I said, just get back to the basics. One of my favorite meals growing up was what my parents called poor man's supper. That is pinto beans, fried taters and onions, cornbread, and if you're lucky, fried okra to go with it. Yep, everything's fried. Poor man's supper, but it's everything you need, and it's very filling and really easy. So, like I said, get back to the basics. I didn't have a taco until I was 16 years old. My family, like I said, my family are from the mountains, and it was meat and potatoes. That's what you had, and that's what you ate. So they still haven't eaten spaghetti, pizza, tacos, none of that stuff. Chinese food, none of it. Very basic. And if we got back to the basics, now don't get me wrong, if you're from that area and that's what you grew up with, that's what you eat. But that's not how they were raised, and that's not how I was raised. Now, I love a taco. I'm going to open up one of them jars right up there of the deer meat and throw my homemade taco seasonings in there. I got tacos. And I'm getting ready to teach myself how to make tortillas. So, because I got to press. I hear that one's pretty hard. So if I can get that, I'll be golden. But just some other things I wanted to talk about. Meat and potatoes is what I call real food. Yes, real food. Yes, that's the simpler the better. Think about it. If you have to go back and live like your parents or your grandparents did, you didn't get bananas all the time. You didn't have strawberries 12 months out of the year. You had them 1 month in the year, and hopefully you had enough harvest to make that strawberry jam up there to last you for the year. And then whatever else, if you're lucky enough to have the freezer space, slice up those strawberries to have a strawberry shortcake in December. That's kind of where, your food travels more than 3,000 miles every day before you even see it. And then it's gassed with all this stuff to make it look fresh. when most of the time it was picked green. Anyway, I can go on and on about that. But if we go back to the basics and live a little more intentional, I guess, you know, with our food. If you think back to um, back in the day, way back in the day, when people, I don't know, you ate twice a day. I mean, if you're actually growing on your own food, you're going to be in this life changing event, right? And you are put in a position where you're going to be growing your own food. You're not going to have enough time to cook all this food. I mean, if you eat three meals a day and a couple of snacks in between, how are you going to grow the food to eat that food? Oh yeah, no, nothing is health. God, no, no. I could tell you all kinds of. Whew. The thing about organics, that's a whole nother story. What they deem as organic and whatnot. Anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, if you're in this life changing event, like I said, the manure has hit the you know what, and you're not going to have time to get 3 squares. You're not going to have 3 squares because you won't have time to grow the 3 squares for the next 365 days. So I've gotten to where I've gone back to eating just twice a day for the most part. But I have coffee most of the morning. I'll have coffee most of the morning. And some reason that just kind of, I don't know, keeps me warm. I don't know. It makes me feel full. But, about 10:30 or 11 today nowadays. Today's Sunday. Now I just came home from eating dinner at Ma and Pa's house. So that's enough to last me for the rest of the evening. But yeah, try to get back to, like I said, back to the basics. 2 meals a day, whether it's like a brunch and early dinner or mid dinner or something like that, and maybe have a snack in between. Those are good ways to, cut cut the bills, or save money. And like I said, put a little more density into your diet with beans, rice, potatoes, right? Everybody, of course, they say those aren't good for you. I think I'm doing pretty good. Anyway, I wanted to show a couple of things that I have. I have a couple more books I had out here. I've read this a long time ago. Backyard Homestead. Supposedly, on a quarter of an acre, you can do 50 pounds of wheat, 60 pounds of fruit, 2,000 pounds of vegetables. All right. And pork, too. The only thing I liked about this book, I mean, I really liked the book. It's got some, neat things in here. But what I did like about it was if you had a smaller space, how much food can you produce? So it has a 1/10 of an acre scale right there. And it shows you what you can put, how many raised beds and how big to make them, and how to rotate your crops. That's the biggest thing if you're put in that situation where you're, really having to grow your own food, just like I do. You need to try to rotation. I mean, as soon as something is coming out, you're putting something else in, or starting the next set of crop before the first one's even finished. Just make your garden plan. Like peas are a spring crop. Peas you can grow if you've got a like a 3 foot or a 4 foot bed. Put your peas running up a trellis in the center. You can go ahead and start and do some lettuce, and then when it's time, uh-oh, I think I'm dying. When it's time, the lettuce is done. You're putting something else in there. Peas are only going to last till it gets hot. You're going to have to put something else in there. So then you could probably put in corn because by the time peas are done, should be by June, depending upon where you're at. Um, Corn can go in June and as late as actually August for us. Now I go to July. Um, anyway, I guess actually, you know what? I had so many things. I love this book too, but it looks like my phone is dying and I'm not near the cord. The Prepper's Cookbook. 20 ways to eat beans and rice, okay? 20 ways to eat beans and rice. Um, there are so many different things in here. Rice 101. And there's different cannon recipes, your basics of cannon, your food storage. I really like this too. Oxygen absorbers, how to use them. And I have that too. You know what? Let me see. I'll be right back. Give me like 1 minute. 1 minute, y'all. Let me see if I can get a cord. Oh, hurry, hurry, hurry. Let's see if this works. Hopefully it's not too staticky or anything. Yay, I'm back. Yay, sorry about that. Like I said, I was at Mom's. But anyway, this book. So, the Prepper's Cookbook. Now, it tells you how to, let me show you. Where was it at? Building your supply. So, how much food do you need per person? And this is just a variety of different things. Like soybeans, I don't suggest soybeans at all, but it has it in here. Per person, let's see. Actually, it says for 2 adults for a month, 1 month, they think you need this much stuff. You know, that's up to you. I mean, I don't eat limas. My husband does. You can see I did butter beans up there. Obviously, I'm not eating soybeans. Not a, they've got stuff in here like lentils and stuff, but they've got 10 pounds of beans for 2 people for 1 month. I don't know about that. Maybe. I don't know. You're eating a lot of beans. You're eating a lot of beans. But then you've got your grains, your wheat flours, cornmeal, oats. Oats. See, there's another thing. I like, I'm not a huge oatmeal fan. Not a huge. Now I like overnight oats. But then I'll do other oatmeals where I'll use the dehydrated apples or my applesauce that I make. There's another thing, like this year we need to do applesauce. That's the only thing that I don't grow here. Our apples, we just don't get that many. But I do need to make more applesauce this year because I'm down to 1 jar. I didn't do any this past year. So, and I think I have 1.5 jars of dehydrated apples left. So, this is the time. This is doing the pantry challenge and eating, just intentionally from home and cooking as much as I can from home and not eating fast food, not picking up, oh, I don't feel like cooking tonight. Yeah. I've done that a couple of times this month. Oh, I didn't feel like cooking, but I still cooked something, whether it was just opened up a jar of soup and threw some meat in it, or quickly boiled some noodles and opened a jar of sauce. You know, really tried to stick with, eating from home for the month of January just to see, um, really, you know, when you get down to brass tacks, do I have enough food? Do I have enough food? So, but this one is a really good recipe. Like I said, it's got some really good recipes in here to change up those rice and beans. I love red beans and rice, by the way. Now, granted, that's got andouille sausage in it, but if you didn't have andouille sausage or any kind of sausage, it's still good by itself. Um, another good one too is, now I won this. I love it. Miss Wanda from Deep South Homestead on one of their live chats. I won this, and this is a really, really good. Let's bring in the firewood and stay warm. Oh yes, stay warm. Happy gardening to you too. Thank you for watching. But this from Wanda and Danny at Deep South Homestead, using those dehydrated products from the garden, is, this is a good book too, because if you don't have a lot of canning jars, or you don't want to can every single thing, and you have the ability to dehydrate, this is a really good cookbook to use your produce. They even has tomato powder. And if you saw my short over in the summer, you know how I made tomato powder. And that's those skins. Don't throw those skins off or out. Don't throw those tomato skins out. Dehydrate them. Run them through your food processor, or like I have the coffee grinder that I use for spices. Powder it. You would be amazed how much flavor is in that tomato skin that you were just getting ready to throw away. So that's another way to, be cost effective and intentional in your food. And I just really, really, I didn't know it would work, to be honest with you. And I'm glad I did, because that little jar of tomato powder, thicken up sauces. If you got your tomato sauce too runny, throw a spoonful of your tomato powder in there. Or do you want to make your own tomato paste? Don't buy that stuff in the store, because that little can, you only need 1 spoonful for a recipe, and then it's going to sit in your refrigerator, and it's going to go to the back of your refrigerator and sit there for the next, 4 or 5 months, and you're going to be like, oh crap, I forgot. Why waste it? If you only need a spoonful, get a spoonful of that powder, add just enough water to thicken it up, and now you've got tomato paste. That was free. You did nothing. You literally saved the skin from the tomato that you grew, and all you did was put it in the machine and let it go. So anyway, there are just so many different things you can do. There's another thing. This is all about pantry, growing your food, what I do. I guess now it's my library, my preparedness, my pantry library, I guess, so to speak. Seed to seed, all about saving your seeds from your garden. Obviously I told you about that, I got the bean seeds here, but this is like how to do that. How do you save those seeds? So that's my gardening stuff, I guess, so to speak. What else? Oh, speaking of garden. So, I've got the 2 little beds right there at the greenhouse. Excuse me. Sorry. I'm not used to talking as much. So I've got the two beds at the greenhouse, and I grow. One side has culinary herbs, and the other is medicinal herbs. Um, and that bottom shelf right there is mostly herbs, dried herbs. The basils, tulsi, which is holy basil. I've got chocolate mint, chamomile. Got lots of chamomile this year. um, just different, just all kinds of different ones. So I like this book. Um, really can't talk about this, I guess, on here, but I will just show it. The Home Apothecary, how to make tinctures, the different herbs. I like a lot of teas. I do a lot of tea when I feel bad. I drink a tea. So, and then usually I'm doing pretty good after that. Now, the other things that we do, yeah, we do our own, um, we're doing our own chickens and stuff now. But I have a couple of other things that I've had for years that I like to refer to. It's a big book. This is a big one. Country Wisdom. All kinds of good stuff in here. Now, I don't plan on ever using the coon recipe in here. But I guess if I had to eat coon, I would refer to this book, to the how-to cookbook. But rabbit, there's rabbit recipe, squirrel, which I did eat squirrel for the first time last year. And it's still squirrel season. It's just too darn cold for me to get out there. But if I have to, like I told my son years ago when we were watching Doomsday Preppers when it came out years and years ago, I said, if we ever got down to it, if we had to eat squirrel or rabbit or any of these other wild things back then, I said, I think if we have enough soy sauce, we'd be able to do it, right? And at that point, I used to keep a gallon of soy sauce in their house just in case. But I've learned how to cook squirrel and rabbit now. So if I have to, I will. Let's see. And of course, everybody's favorite. This is another big one. You can see it's a really big book, but this is the 50th anniversary of Country Living. So it's got a lot of the basics in there too, So if you ever need to know anything about raising your own animals, all that good stuff, it's all in here. I haven't used this one so much yet. But because I already do some of these things. We make our own sausage. Our deer sausage, and when he goes on a pig hunt, we do our own. I've got my own recipe for that now, so that one's just ground meat. But I just can't get over this one. If you really want to know, like I said, the Preppers Cookbook. Beans and rice, 20 ways in this book. And like I said, the way to, there's the tables in here to have, I still think, like I said, getting back to the basics, having the basics in your house at all the time. Like I said, beans and rice, or flour, yeast, and salt, and of course sugar. You can just about do anything with those, in my opinion. Now, we have a lot of those things and more. I plan on doing more lard here this year, I think. If my local farmer has it available, I will do it. I really, really like it. And it just makes the absolute best pie crust in the world. I swear it does. I can't, I don't think I'll ever, unless I absolutely, absolutely have to buy a pie crust because I have got to make a pie in the next hour, maybe I'll buy a pie crust. But, and I just using the lard that we rendered back in the summer, man, those pies are so good. Oh my goodness, it's so good. It does give it, it's not really a taste. I don't know, it's just different. And it's so flaky and buttery. I don't know, it's really good. But that's kind of, like I said, I know I've talked, just rambled on quite a bit, but just try to be more intentional. Get back to the basics. I've said it, I don't know how many times, just get back to the basics. Yeah, pork fried rice and what, Gerald Sal's chicken and what else? What's another good one that I like? Penne with vodka sauce. And, all these things are yummy. I love them. Yes. But when it comes to having a prepared pantry, can you do that all the time? Or can you do it yourself? Can you make Gerald Sal's like, Lotus down the street? If you can't, figure out how. What do you need to make it to, like I said, eat more intentional, know what you're eating, where your food's coming from. I don't know. I just think, like I said, meat and potatoes. That's how I grew up. Yeah, we had hot dogs once a week. Isn't that meat of some sort? And the potatoes was chips. But just, I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at. Just, I'm gonna sit down here soon, figure out where I am with my pantry right now. What we did, what I was able to put away last year. I know for certain I want more of that pepper soup base. So whatever it takes to get more tomatoes and peppers to make that. I know I need, like I did the onions. We had the perfect amount of onions so far. I still have onions in the refrigerator from my harvest last year. Now I have stretched them out as much as I can, and still fingers crossed that they do as well as they did last year. So there's still a lot of things that I need to figure out, but I really, really want to ramp up my food production. And like I said, I could if I dug up more dirt, but with my job and everything else, and it's really, really, really going to be just me this year with no extra help. Um, I don't know. But anyway, sorry. Thank you for sitting with me on a Sunday afternoon. Hopefully, everyone is staying warm. I know for us, tonight, I think, is going to be another cold one down in the teens. But then we warm up to 70, for goodness gracious. But I think rain. So, yeah, it's going to be, I think, 70 on Friday. I believe that's what they say. So hopefully it won't rain too much and I'll be able to get out and start this garden process for 24. So hopefully you guys will come back again this year and follow us along and see where we're going. I know, let's see, if the chicks come probably in March. Next month I'll be, pretty much February and March, I'll be building that chicken tractor. So you'll see that in the coming months too. But anyway, I want to say hi, Bubba, or goodbye, Bubba, and hopefully you better call your mama soon. All right, guys. As always, many blessings. Bye.